All right, welcome to 2.1 Relations and Functions. Our essential question today, how do you graph relations and identify functions? All right, so now we should probably start off defining what is a relation, what is a function, stuff like that. So a relation, it's pairs of input and output values. So the number you put in and the number you get out. Okay, now how we've been working with equations, your input would be kind of like your x and your output is your y. Okay, so especially as we go into the graphing area of this, the input is the x value and the output is the y value on your graph. Okay, so ways to represent a relation, you could do an ordered pair, for example x comma y, so input comma output. You can map it. Here's your inputs. This would be like your x's right here, and this would be your y's right here. So you plug in, this would be saying like you plug in 0 and you get -3 as an answer, or sorry, you get 3 as an answer. You plug in 2, you get 11 as an answer. Okay. You could also represent it in a graph. Okay. And you could represent it in like a table form. So when you plug in 8, you get 1 for an answer. Okay, so here's a problem for us. In 2000, the four most populous states in millions were California with 32 million, Texas with 21 million people, New York with 19 million people, and Florida with 16 million people. The numbers of U.S. representatives in California were 53, 32 in Texas, 29 in New York, and 25 in Florida. And we need to use 4 different methods in order to represent this data. Okay, so we're going to use ordered pairs first. So in ordered pair, our input is how much your representatives are based off of how many people you have, right? And so the states with more people have more representatives. That's how our government works, right? And so the population is what gets inputted, and the result, the output, is the representatives. Okay, so our x values are going to be the population. So in California it'd be 32, and when we have 32 million people, that results in 53 representatives. Okay, likewise with Texas, you have 21 million people. Well, that results in being allowed 32 representatives. New York is 19 million, and they get out 29 representatives. And then lastly, Florida is 16 million, and they get out 25 representatives. Okay. Now, when we map this, this is what we call the domain. Okay, and the range. Now, another way to think of it, we'll keep with our input-output. This is our input and our output. Okay. And so, what this results to is we input 32 million people, and what we get out is 53 representatives. 21 million people outputs into 32 representatives. 19 million results in 29 representatives, and lastly 16 million results in 25 representatives. Okay. A table, this would be just your basic X, Y, T chart here. Okay, where we have 32 and 53. Okay, 21 and 32, 19, 29, and 16 and 25. Okay, and lastly, we could graph it. And so this would be like our X, this is our X-axis, this is our Y-axis, right? And so we'll go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35. Okay, in our Y direction, we'll go, let's see, we need to have 53 representatives, right? So we'll go maybe by tens. No, we'll go by fives. 5, 15, 25, 35, 45. Oh, we're going to be slightly off the graph here because we would end at 50. So we'll be slightly off the graph. Okay, so we go over 32. We go up 53. So our first point is like, well, we'll just put it right up here. Okay, I'll make it nice and big so we can see it. And then 21 and 32. So 32 is up right about here. Okay. And then 19 and 29, so just below the line, right here. And then lastly, 16 and 25, which is right on the line here. Okay, so that's a way to represent the graph. Okay, so with our same problem, what are the domain and range? Now I kind of touched on it in the last slide, are the domain and range of the previous problem. So the domain is the set of inputs. So in other words, it's the x-coordinates. Okay, the range is the outputs, and it's the y-coordinates. Okay, domain is the x-axis, range is the y-axis. It's something that students struggle with. I struggle with it from time to time. Okay, it's just something you have to keep working with. You have to keep trying to memorize. Domain is the x values, range is the y values. All right, so a function. It's a special kind of relation, and it says that for every input, there's exactly one output. And how I like to think of this, a function is that if these were boys, and this was a school dance, boys and girls, okay, every boy has to only take one girl. Okay, they can't take more than one girl because then there'll be a fight, right? And so a function is just like a school dance. A boy has to take only one girl. Okay, can't have two girls. So is this relation a function? Our answer is no. Why not? Well, you see 10 here. 10 is taking two girls to the dance. 10 results in -2 and 4. In a function, you can only have one. It can't go to two things. Okay. Now, what about this one? Is this one a function? Well, let's see. 0 goes to 0. 2 goes to 4. -2 goes to 4. 3 goes to 9. -3 goes to 9. So there's no duplicated x value. That's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. The same boy is not represented twice. Okay. Now, multiple, I see that 2 and -2 both result in 4, right? That's okay. Multiple boys can ask the same girl to the dance. That's okay. A boy just can't ask two girls. That would be not okay, right? And so, two boys can ask the same girl to the dance, but as long as we don't repeat x values, we're okay. So this is actually a yes. It is. Okay, and if we wanted to map them, we could. Okay, if it helps you to draw those two circles, and 0, 2, -2, 3, and -3. Okay, and then we map it 0, 4, 4 again. So we don't have to write it twice, and then 9 again, right? So 0 goes to 0, 2 goes to 4, -2 also goes to 4, and then the 3 and the -3 go to 9. That's okay. So we have two girls being asked to the dance by two different boys, and that's okay, as long as these don't go to two different numbers. Okay. So another way you can check if it's a function or not is the vertical line test. When the given, and I want to highlight given, when given a graph, it has to pass the vertical line test. So that means that we can draw all the vertical lines we want, and it's never going to touch the graph twice. Okay, so this one's a yes. Okay, now this one, touches the graph here and it touches the graph here. So this is a no. Okay, so use the vertical line test. Which graphs represent functions? Well, if we draw lines through the graph here, are we touching any other parts of the graph? No, we're not, so yes, it passes. Okay, now what about here? Uh-oh. We cross at two different spots, so that's a no. Okay. All right, so the function rule here, let's just make an equation. We'll say y equals 2x. Okay. Now, when we start working with functions, there's a thing called function notation, and that would be basically all we're going to do is we're going to replace the y with f of x. Okay, so this is what we get. F of x equals 2x instead of y equals 2x. Okay, don't let this throw you off all that much. It's just a different way to write things. Once you get used to it, you'll actually appreciate it and you'll like it better. So f of x equals 2x instead of y equals 2x. Okay, our independent variable. There's another thing that students get confused on. Your independent variable, that would be the thing that you can just pick. It doesn't matter what you pick, you can just pick it. So in this case, we pick our x. Okay, you could throw in 75 if you wanted to. You could do negative 24, whatever. Okay, that's independent. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, the dependent variable though, that's your y or your f of x. Okay, and it depends on what you plug in for x. I can't just pick the answer, right? I can pick the thing to plug into the equation, but then the answer depends on that. Okay. So for f of x equals negative 3x plus 2, what's the output for the input negative 4, 0, and 0.2? Okay, so what we're going to do, the first one, we're going to plug in negative 4. And that's why this f of x is kind of handy, because then we plug in, we write out what we're plugging in here. Okay, so we just plug in negative 3 times negative 4 plus 2. Okay, so f of negative 4 would be what, 12 plus 2, and so 14 would be our answer here. Okay, the next one, we plug in 0, so f of 0 equals negative 3 times 0 plus 2. Well, we know that anything times 0 is 0, so 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay, and lastly, plug in f of 0.2, negative 3 times 0.2 plus 2. Okay, grab your calculators here. Negative 3 times 0.2 is negative 0.6. We still have our plus 2. And so when we add 2 to that, we get 1.4. Okay. Be careful. When we see this like f of, for example, f of 0, 0 is not your answer. That's not the same as saying 0 equals. This is not okay. Okay. This is just saying we're plugging in negative 4 for x. That's our dependent variable. No, our independent variable. I'm sorry. Independent variable. I'm sorry, I even get confused a little bit sometimes. All right, that's our independent variable because that's the one we're plugging in, and then whatever we get out is our dependent variable. All right, so pizza costs $14. The flat delivery fee is $7.50. What function rule models the total cost for the number of pizzas delivered? Evaluate for 5 pizzas. Okay, so our function rule, aka the equation, okay, our rule, if it costs $14 per pizza, and then you have just a flat delivery fee of $7.50. Okay, that's our function rule. So f of x equals that. Okay, now it says it wants us to evaluate for 5 pizzas, so we do f of 5 equals 14 times the number of pizzas plus $7.50. Okay, now 14 times 5 is 70. And then we add 750. Oops. 70, it'd be 77.5. I don't need a calculator for that. So $77.50. All right, that's it. Here's your practice problems.